Could moving to Augusta be more financially savvy than you could have ever imagined? Today we're talking about Masters rentals, and we're starting right now. Hi, I'm Kimberly Lahodny with Georgia Coast Homes in Augusta, Georgia. I just want to say welcome back to our channel. We are finally going to grapple with the Masters rental. And for those of you who have never been down here to experience this, you might be saying, what is this and why does it matter? Well, we're gonna get into it today, and I just want you to know this is the first video in a series that is gonna tackle this topic because there's just so much to know. But first, I'm gonna start with a story. I moved to Augusta, much like many of you, from a state that was not Georgia. And I was eager to know everything I could about this incredible city that I moved to. No joke, the first week that my husband and I landed here, we got an earful about one thing. Are you going to buy a Masters rental? What? I mean, we both looked at each other and we were like, what are they talking about? Now, I grew up on the East Coast, and I grew up in an area outside of DC where we've had a lot of national golf tournaments. And I had the experience of seeing some of my friends rent out their houses or house players, which was like super exciting and fun, especially when we were little. And I'd ask people who lived close to the course, who do you have in your house? And this was back when players would even stay with families and get to know the families. It was incredible. But it wasn't a thing. It wasn't like people were planning on renting their house out year after year. And that's what makes Augusta very unique. There is a huge, very well-known golf tournament called the Masters that takes place at Augusta National every year at the very same time, the first week of April, and you can time it, and our schools even let our kids out for spring break because they know that parents rent their house out, and really nobody in Augusta that is going to the Masters wants the locals around. I mean, let's face it, if you're not into golf and you don't want to be here, or you just don't want to deal with thousands of people coming into your town, why not go on vacation and rent out your house for a crazy amount of money? So we began our house search with the question, are we gonna buy something that can accommodate a rental? And what does that even look like? What is the criteria? What do we need to know? And I'm gonna tell you at the end of this video if we decided to do it, because it has been a journey for us and we needed to ask a lot of tough questions. So here we go. First of all, like I mentioned, this is such a serious situation that our schools, both public and private, arrange their spring break to accommodate the Masters so that we can get out of town. And it's very wonderful because we don't have to think about, well, what are we gonna do with our kids? How are we gonna accommodate schooling? And what are we gonna do to create some fun when all these people are in town using all of our restaurants and play areas and et cetera, et cetera. So many people just leave. And that has made renting out your house pretty easy. I mean, I say easy. There's a lot that goes into it, but it makes it easy to vacate and let somebody else use your beds. And now this is where it becomes a question of how to spend your money wisely if you're moving here and you decide, I want to buy something that could be a Masters rental. There is this idea of buying with the Masters in mind. A lot of Masters rentals are built and have been built in the last couple of years to accommodate this experience. So with the larger homes and homes that have been built to accommodate this, you'll find that a lot of the bedrooms have en suites. So it's almost like a mini hotel room. So every single bedroom in the house has its own private bath. And it doesn't matter if it's a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom or a 6 or 8 or 10-bedroom house, they want to have this little suite experience. But that's not necessarily the same situation in a neighborhood like National Hills, which is literally right across the street from the golf course. Those houses can command a lot of money because people can walk to it, but they were built in the 1950s. So they're a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, or sometimes they're a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, and people just have to share the bathroom and deal with it, but they're in walking distance of the course. So they sometimes can command a little more money if they're fixed up really cute and they're in great proximity. That gets me to number 3, which is proximity versus affordability versus privacy. It's like location matters and doesn't matter all at the same time, depending on who's coming in and renting your home. And now you can see, I think, why I'm going to make a series of videos about this, because there's just so much to talk about. Talking about who comes in, who rents, how they rent, and how they use your house. But you can either have a house right near the golf course, which you think, well, that of course, that's what we need. But it may not be. I mean, you could be down in Evans and be about 20 minutes away and have a killer house or a great house to accommodate a group of people. It only takes 20 minutes to get over to the course or less. So somebody might spend some big bucks to use your house. Number 4, levels of how you rent your house. You're thinking, okay, so I have to fix up my house, clean it up, make sure that there's room for people to come in and use my house when I'm not there, and I'll probably have to list it on VRBO or Airbnb, and you know, maybe I can charge a couple $1,000s. Well, yes, you can definitely do that, and a lot of people do. In fact, a lot of people put their houses on multiple listing sites. But there is also several hospitality companies here that will rent your house out for you and do a lot of the hard work. I mean, you still have to clean your house and get it picked up and put your personal items away, but they come in and they help arrange the leasing deal. They make sure your house doesn't get completely torn up, and they make arrangements so that you can sleep better at night. I'm going to do a series of interviews with some of those hospitality companies so you can get to know what they do and how they make your life easier. And of course, listing on VRBO or Airbnb is also always a good idea. Now let's talk about the kind of house that you have and what somebody could use it for, because you could make a certain amount of money on something called a sleeper house, or you can make a crazy amount of money on something called a host house or a hospitality house. So sleeper houses are very much like I described earlier. A lot of those houses have been built with little like en-suites attached to each bedroom. They come in, they use your bedroom, they use your bathroom, they barely use the kitchen. In fact, in some contracts, you have to specify, I will be planning on using the kitchen, or I will not be using the kitchen, I will eat out every night. So those homes tend to be a little less, but the more people you can accommodate, the more money you can make. So sleeper houses are very desirable for most people that don't want their house to be fully utilized, because the wear and tear is less and you still make a really great amount of money. Then there are the host houses or hospitality houses, and these houses have everything. I mean, these houses were designed for parties of 20 people or more. I mean, they've got pools, they've got a golf simulator room, they have indoor theaters, pool tables, they have things that you can't even imagine. And the owners want the big bucks. I mean, that's why they do it. So they build these houses and they're absolutely beautiful, or they're just a fun house waiting to happen. And then when somebody goes to rent a host house, they actually have to tell you how many parties they're planning on having, and they're charged by the party. So they're not just charged for renting out the house, but then they're charged for each event that they have at your house. And this is where people are making crazy amounts of money. In fact, there are people who just buy a house that sits empty all year long, but is used for this purpose because they make so much money off their house. So when I say this is the thing, I'm not kidding. And just when you think your head is about to explode with all this information, there is a blog. There is a gal who's put together everything you could possibly need to know about renting your house out for the masters. She even has a calendar of the things you need to do to get your house in order so that you're ready for April 1st and you just feel like you can get up and leave and not worry about it because you're totally prepared. So now you're probably wondering, how much money are you talking about? I mean, this sounds crazy. This sounds like you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars. I am. For most people, renting their house out for the Masters pays for either half or a full year of their mortgage. It puts money away for their kids' college fund. It allows them to go on crazy vacations during the week of the Masters. It also allows people to do things to their house they would never do so that their own family could enjoy some of these luxuries. So let me give you a range so that you have some numbers in your head, and then I'm gonna let you know what we decided. So we're talking about renting a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house close in proximity to the Masters. You're looking at anywhere from $3,500 to just under $10,000 for a week. If you're dealing with a larger house downtown in a gated community, or is incredibly historic and beautiful and is highly desirable, you can get into the range of $100,000. I'm not kidding. And if you have houses down closer to Evans, but you're in a highly rated neighborhood, or you have an incredible house, or you have acreage, or you are in a gated community, you can get somewhere between $15,000 to $45,000 for a week. I mean, it really is mind-blowing when you're thinking about those numbers. So here we go. Russ and I decided, as we were looking for a home, that we were going to try to get a Masters rental. And what does that mean for us? Well, we did not buy at the low end of our budget like we initially planned. We thought, hey, we're gonna move to Georgia and we're not gonna spend very much on our house because everything is cheaper here, and that is true. But we decided we're gonna go for it. We're gonna buy a house a little bit more on the top of our budget that was built to be a Masters rental. So we bought a house that does accommodate things, but we're just starting the process. So we just had an interview with someone to come over and review our house and assess how much we can get. And then they begin telling us what we need to do to get our house in order. And I will be filling you in the entire time. So if you're interested in this and you want to connect a little bit more, click here to download our relocation guide, and don't hesitate to reach out. You'll be seeing more of these videos. I'm so excited to share this with you, and I'll see you next time on Georgia Coast Homes.